Good morning, historians. Welcome back to the Old History YouTube channel, Old History Project, which, as I've said 1,000 times on my podcast, is part of the Old History social media project. So this is recorded here at the end of September, but this video is the last in the series of haunted history, which, as you guys found out by now, is covering a lot of the graves that people just don't know are here. And I think it's a cool thing. You know, you research what these people did, and you know, some of them are actually pretty significant. Some of them covered unique events. Well, this one has been a grave that I've been wanting to come to for a long time because we researched my girlfriend's heritage, and somehow her family lineage ties in to Native American history, and then of course it comes to Nancy Ward. So before we dive into there, I haven't been up there yet. Before we dive in, I want to remind everybody I do have a Patreon set up. I hope everybody has enjoyed these. Don't make any money from YouTube. This has all been on my own dime. It's something fun that I like to do. It's patreon.com/oldhistory. If you guys want to donate, it's up to you. So, and the other thing is, go give my good friend Jason at the Beard Guy and Friends a look-see. Jason's a real good friend of mine. And then go give the Lost Creek Boys Recovery a look-see. There's some good friends of mine as well. So we have some interesting things going on for the next little while. Partnering up with the East Tennessee Historical Society on a project which should be done in October. When you're watching this, it will have already been done, probably, maybe in November. All right, so we're here at the gravesite of Nancy Ward, and let me tell you why she's important. So Nancy Ward was born in 1738 in a place called Chota, which is about an hour, 30 minutes up the road, 45 minutes up the road. It's now covered up by the Tennessee River. Her name is, in Cherokee, is Nanyahi, which is one who goes about, I guess. I'm not going to misquote anything. Which was apparently taken from a legendary name of the Cherokee people, of Cherokee mythology. Her birth was near the outbreak of a smallpox epidemic that resulted in the deaths of approximately 1/2 of the Cherokees. Her father was not known, but the Cherokees practiced a matrilineal tradition anyway. Nanyahi's mother was Tame Doe of the Wolf Clan, and who was the sister of Atakulakula, the civil chief of the Cherokee Nation. In her adult years, observers described her as a queenly and commanding in appearance and manner, and was a resourceful woman. When she was 17, she had 2 children, 5 killer, and a daughter named Catherine. Her husband was, who I think his name was Longfellow, don't quote me on that, was killed in a battle with the Creeks during a raid in the 1755 Battle of Taliwa, where she fought by her husband's side, and apparently she chewed on the lead bullets for his rifle to make them more deadly when they hit somebody. When he died, it said that she sprang up from behind a log and rallied the Cherokee warriors to fight harder. And then she took up a rifle and led a charge that unnerved the Creeks to such an extent such an extent and gave the Cherokee a victory. Because of her valor, the clans chose her as a Gigahow. I'm trying to mispronounce anything. That was called a beloved woman. In this position, her words carried much weight in the tribal government, because the Cherokees believed that the Great Spirit frequently spoke through the beloved woman, which is what Gigahow meant. As beloved woman, Nan headed the Women's Council and sat on the Council of Chiefs. She had complete power over prisoners and was sometimes known as a war woman, and also prepared the warriors' black drink, which was a ritual for war. Bryant Ward was an English trader who had fought in the French and Indian War, took up residence with the Cherokee, and married Nancy in the late 1750s. Ward already had a wife, but since the Cherokees did not consider marriage a lifelong institution, the arrangement apparently presented a few problems. Ward and her English husband lived in Chota for a time and became the parents of a daughter whose name was Betsy. Eventually, Bryant Ward moved back to South Carolina, where he lived the remainder of his life with his European family. Nancy Ward and Betsy visited his home on many occasions, where they were welcomed and treated with respect. Nancy also became a respected and well known by that time, moving across the mountains into the Cherokee territory, places like Watauga and stuff like that, Bean Station. James Robertson would visit her home several times, and John Sevier owed a lot of his military success to her. On at least 2 occasions, she sent Isaac Thomas to warn John Sevier of impending Native American attacks. She once stopped the warriors of Toqua from burning Lydia Bean at the stake. Lydia Bean was the wife of William Bean, who was one of the first settlers in this area. Well, up there where I'm from, in that part of East Tennessee. So she kept Lydia Bean there for a time before allowing her to return to Watauga, and Ward made good use of her. Learned how to make butter and cheese, and also introduced dairying to the Cherokee. But she let Lydia Bean go unharmed. Now, like most communities living within that area of the 13 colonies, the Cherokee Nation was divided over how to respond to the outbreak of the American Revolution. Nan and her uncle Atakulakula counseled restraint and patience, while her cousin, Dragging Canoe, wanted to take the opportunity to drive out the colonists who had been slowly encroaching on Cherokee land. In the summer of 1776, Dragging Canoe announced he would make a raid along the white settlements, which were on the Watauga River, and asked Nan to create the traditional black drink that would protect the Cherokee during battle. In 1781, Nan addressed the U.S. Treaty Commissioners, who were working with conservative Cherokee leaders to negotiate a treaty to end the fighting. And she believed that the peace would come only if Native people and white settlers saw themselves as one people. She taught that only the women on the 2 sides could make this happen. And she said, quote unquote, "Let your women hear our words." Nanyehi's speech would reflect the political and cultural importance of the women in Cherokee society, but it baffled our American audience, who lived in a society where women were not really allowed to participate in public life. And now this reflects something that happened all the way up until, 1900s, women weren't allowed to have their own bank accounts without their husband's approval. But regardless, her reputation would grow, and as the fighting became more fierce, American commanders made a point of helping Nancy and her family escape. Her actions during the American Revolution have earned her an honored place in American history. But her reputation among the Cherokee is complicated. She played a critical role in moving the Cherokee Nation away from their traditions towards a more westernized way of life. She's credited with introducing slaveholding, cattle farming, dairy production, and spinning to her community. Her attitude of acceptance towards white settlers gave them ability to encroach on Cherokee territory. Today, some Cherokee consider her a traitor, while white settlers consider her a hero. Also, dragging canoe is also considered a hero for advocating armed resistance. And so there you have it, folks. This is the grave of Nancy Ward. Very significant little place. Let me tell you just a little side note here. There is nothing on the way up here. It's in Benton, Tennessee, and we came through Etowah, and I mean, there is just nothing here. We passed like mostly biker bars. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this series. I'd like to do it again sometime. So, let me extend on that for everybody so they can read it. Princess and prophetess of the Cherokee Nation, Pocahontas of Tennessee, the constant friend of the American Revolution. Erected by the Nancy Ward chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution. And there is Longfellow, who I assume would have been her Native American husband, her first husband. I don't really know who he was, so I won't talk on him. There's 5 killer. So I hope everybody has enjoyed this little video. This has been Old History. And note, if you do come up here, please be respectful. There is surprisingly no garbage up here. People put little bracelets on the cemetery, on the fence. I don't know what that represents, but nonetheless, she's a pretty significant figure in women's rights and stuff like that. So, well, thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and consider going to the Patreon for just to support the project. Everybody has a great weekend, and stay safe out there.